All right, here's the Clinton supporter, Gregory Meeks. I never liked this guy. But anyway, he's going to, I guess, be the counterbalance to the Ben Carson interview.
Gregory Meeks of New York, chairman of the Congressional Black Caucus PAC. Congressman, welcome to Fox News Sunday.
Good to be with you, Chris.
Do you give Donald Trump any credit at all for going into an inner city and meeting with African Americans?
No, because it's not real. Donald Trump has a career here in New York where this is his first time visiting a black church. And so here again, you have what I think is a bait and switch scenario that Donald Trump is trying to put on and to, in the words of Marco Rubio, con the American people, in this instance, con African Americans. It's clearly, his record speaks for itself.
You say that he's trying to con them. Do you think that Donald Trump is a racist?
Well, I just say that some of the things, as indicated by the Speaker, by Senator Scott, not by me, some of the things that Donald Trump has said clearly are racist. They've indicated it, that those were remarks that were racist in character. So I can only go by what one says and what one has done. And clearly, if you look at Donald Trump's record from the time that he started out with his father with the lawsuits and to the birther statements and to not acknowledging David Duke immediately to there goes my African American. Those are all statements. What do you have to lose? Those are all statements that I would say lend one to believe that he has racist tendencies. At least those are what his beliefs are, if you believe what he says.
But Congressman, doesn't Trump have a point that things are not getting better in America's inner cities? I want to put up some numbers. 26.2% of blacks now live below the poverty line. 25.5% of food stamp recipients are black, and black home ownership is 41.7%. Congressman, all of those numbers are worse since President Obama took office.
Well, what we are doing now, where we are now, is much better than where we were when President Obama was and, took office in 2008.
No, that's not true. That's not true. Okay. What he should have said is President Obama took office in 2009, actually, and the economy was tanking at the point that he took office, and it continued to tank until the policies and programs that he instituted kicked in, which I believe was within another 6 to 8 months. It took 8 months for the policies to start kicking in. So at the very lowest point, we are better off today, but not at the point that he actually took office.
Those aren't better. Those are worse.
Well, we're coming from the greatest recession since the Great Depression. And a lot of people lost their homes and the wealth in the African American community. And we got to build back. And that's why it's important that we have the kinds of policies that are being talked about by Hillary Clinton that will help build back and reduce income disparity. That's why we also have to make sure that we are raising minimum wage and focused on small businesses, which is important. That's also why we've got to make sure we're protecting historically black colleges and investing in historically black colleges for education and talking about education that's affordable and free for some, so that the key to tomorrow in America is a better education or trade. But these are all subject matters of which Hillary Clinton has been talking about.
But Congressman, do you hear anything in the very different Republican ideas about school choice, about enterprise zones, about renegotiating trade deals that have taken jobs out of America's inner cities? Do you hear anything in those Republican ideas that you think maybe that's an interesting alternative?
I do. My problem is they don't give you any details. Trump is talking a good game, but we need specifics. not just black people, but everyone, if they could see the specifics and there was really something that we could hang our hats on, there would be a lot of people that would be willing to close their eyes, hold their nose, and vote for Trump if his policies were out there for people to see and we had any kind of belief that they would work. But just talking a good game is not getting anybody anywhere. We've been talked a good game by the Democrats. Now it's time for everybody to step up to the plate and put their cards on the table and do what they've promised to do. And it's time for the Republicans to get in the game, legitimately get in the game, and to treat us equally. We don't need the extras. We want the same stuff that everybody else wants.
No, well, I think that if you go to Washington, for example, there's an idea that Mr. Jim Clyburn from South Carolina put forth called the 10-20-30 plan to help eradicate poverty in America. And I think that it has been embraced. I know it's been.
By the way, I encourage you to go check that plan out. It's a really good plan. And Paul Ryan, who is a budget hawk, basically has endorsed that plan and wants to make it part of the budget itself.
Embraced by Senator Clinton, but also by Speaker Ryan. There's some kind of dialogue that we can begin to have and talk about, because I think that the issue is we've got to reduce the disparities that we have, because for sure disparities are great within the African American community, but you also got to reduce poverty. And when we talk about issues of poverty, for example, we don't say that those Republicans that represented Appalachia for years are responsible for the poverty that is there. So we've got to have this deep conversation, and I think the conversation could be had on a bipartisan basis, dealing with specific policy as the 10-20-30.
During the Democratic primaries, Bernie Sanders went after Clinton in several cases from the left. For instance, he noted that the welfare reform plan that she supported and her husband signed into law in 1996 resulted in more than the doubling of the number of Americans living in extreme poverty. He noted that the crime bill that she supported and President Clinton signed in 1994 dramatically increased the number of blacks going into prison and the amount of time that they spent there. Isn't that part of the Clinton record?
Well, you know, I think that you put it into perspective.
It damn sure is part of the Clinton record. Okay, it's a big part of that record. So, my friend, let's watch you try to clean that one up.
What was taking place at that time, and when you look at the crack epidemic and that was going on, much of that took place at that time is taken out of context when we talk today.
Bullshit, because what you guys turned around and did was you made a difference between penalties for crack cocaine versus powder cocaine, and we know that white people overwhelmingly use powder cocaine, whereas black people were using crack cocaine, but both were using cocaine at pretty much equal levels. So you demonized one while soft peddling the other. And you, my friend, if I'm not mistaken, were part of Up and Coming. I believe you were part of it. I could be wrong. Let me not make a statement unless I check it out. I'm going to back up.
To recall, at that time, the income disparity between African Americans and others was shrinking. You talk about unemployment was the lowest that it had been. In fact, so many good things were happening in the African American community that some was calling Bill Clinton at the time the first African American president. So you don't speak of that now, but when you think about small businesses, of which Hillary Clinton is focused on, an investment in urban America and inner cities, creating businesses and opportunities for African American communities, utilizing minority businesses, that was all positive. And something that Hillary Clinton talks about today.
Finally, and I got about a minute left for this, I want to ask you to respond to what Dr. Carson said about the release of the FBI files into the emails. More than 24 times during that interview with the FBI, Hillary Clinton said she could not recall, did not remember key events. It turned out she didn't have one BlackBerry as she had told the press. It turned out she had 15. Your response?
My response is that it's clear. Hillary Clinton has gone through several hearings in Congress. Now you've heard the FBI director say that there's nothing that she did that was criminal or anything of that nature.
Well, he didn't say it was criminal, but he did say it was negligent and extremely careless.
Yeah. You heard that the secretary say that if she had a chance to do it again, she wouldn't have done it. She's been apologetic about that. But there's been nothing. There's been no smoking gun, as the Republicans talked about. You heard my colleague on the Republican side, McCarthy, said all of this was about from the beginning, whether they're talking about Benghazi or other items, was just to try to discredit Hillary, because when you talk policy issues and how we take this country forward, you can't compare. And so you try to divert, where, so there's smoke and no fire.
Congressman Meeks, thank you. Thanks for coming in today. We look forward to talking to you again, sir.
All right, that's Congressman Meeks' interview with Chris Wallace. And I just, honestly, I've been ticked off at this guy ever since he didn't support Donna Edwards in her run for Congresswoman, senator from the state of Maryland. And I'll never forgive the Congressional Black Caucus for that.